Rahim. Welcome to AppSec's online sport program. This is round 2 and week 11. Dear students of class 2nd year, I'm your English teacher, Miss Sayyida Rubana from APS Thamyal campus, Rawalpindi. This is part 1 of today's lecture, in which we are going to do the applied grammar, transitive and intransitive verbs, and comprehension and precis writing skills. Let's start with the learning objectives. Learning objectives of today's lecture are that the students will be able to define and identify transitive and intransitive verbs. They'll be able to differentiate and use the given verbs in both verb forms. They'll be able to answer the questions at the end of the passage. They'll learn the art of condensing, drafting, and precis writing. They'll be able to select a suitable title and answer the end of passage questions in their own words and give a suitable title to the passage. Let's start the topic transitive and intransitive verb. First of all, we'll see the definitions, then examples and differences between the transitive and intransitive verbs with the help of the comparison charts. What is transitive verb? The transitive verb we can define as the action of a transitive verb transitions through the verb to an object to complete the meaning. For example, in a sentence, she played the piano. That is the direct object. Play is the verb, and the verb after which a direct object is here. This kind of verb is known as the transitive verb. So, transitive verb is the verb which takes direct object right after it. And what is a direct object? We must know before this. So, a direct object basically is the object which gives you the answer of what. For example, I say she played what? She played the piano. So, this kind of object is known as the direct object on which the work is done directly. Like Liam will release what? 5 seeds. It is also the direct object. Now we see the intransitive verbs. What is intransitive verbs? An intransitive verb is a verb that can express a complete thought without necessarily exerting its action on an object. So object is not required. Intransitive verbs don't require a direct object to express a complete thought. For example, they jumped. There is no need to have any kind of direct object. Here is the subject, they, is followed by the intransitive verb jumped. You can add an adverb phrase so high to describe how they jumped. So, intransitive verb does not need any direct object. We can have the examples. The pirates laughed heartily. How? Heartily. So, laughed at what is not required over here. So, it is laughed here is the intransitive verb. And we can see in the another example of the transitive verb when we have the direct object in this sentence, like the pirates found what? The trier. The pirates found the trier. That is a direct object. So a transitive verb transitions to an object to complete its meanings. Here is the difference between the transitive and intransitive verb. Through this chart you can easily see that in the transitive verb we have the subject, and right after that it is followed by a direct object, and in intransitive it is used without a direct object. So there is no direct object. Again, you can see through this table a transitive verb requires an object in the form of a noun or a pronoun so complete its meaning. Transitive verbs are used with a direct object. The different transitive verbs are listed over here in this chart. And in intransitive verb, an intransitive verb will make sense without the direct object. Here are some intransitive verbs enlisted in front of you in this chart. Let's see some other comparison charts. Here is transitive and intransitive verbs use is shown. Transitive verbs need an object. Like for example, a sentence, I bought what? I bought a car. Car is the direct object. So you buy something, an object. What did you buy? A car. You cannot just say I bought. it is incomplete in sense. So you need a direct object after a transitive verb. So in this case, by is basically the transitive verb. So in intransitive case, you cannot have an object. The baby smiled. The baby smiled. So smile after that is not followed by any direct object. So you cannot have an object after an intransitive verb. In this case, smile. You cannot smile something. Another example, he waited, but nobody came. He waited, there is no direct object after that, but nobody came. After they came, there is no direct object, so both are the intransitive over here. So another example is in some verbs can be transitive in one sentence and they can be intransitive in another one. Like for example, I stopped the car. The stop is actually the main verb, and here it is transitive verb because after that it is followed by the direct object, the car. And in the same sentence, the same word, the car stopped. After the stop, it is not followed by the object. There is no object, so it is intransitive. So sometimes the meaning of a verb changes depending on whether that verb is transitive or intransitive, especially with the phrasal verbs. He runs a small grocery store. He runs a what? So it is transitive. He runs along the beach every morning. So here it is not followed by the direct object, so it is intransitive. Here is another word, investigate, for you. Investigate is basically investigating. Three forms are here. So what do you mean by the word investigate? To try to find out the facts about something, such as a crime or an accident, or in order to learn how it happened, who did it. So the police are still investigating the murder. So police are investigating what? They are investigating the murder. So this is the transitive verb. But the manager promised to investigate when we pointed out the error on our bill. Here it is not followed by the direct object, so it is intransitive over here. So investigate is used in form of direct object, is followed in form of the transitive verb, and then in the next sentence in intransitive verb. Here is another word, exercise. Exercising, and it means to do physical activities in order to make yourself stronger and healthier. So it's important to exercise every day. He eats right and exercises regularly. Here we can see that there are no objects, and in case exercise a muscle. Exercise what? A muscle. Bicycle riding exercises the leg muscles. So in the second part they are transitive, and exercise in the first sentences they are, here it is the intransitive. So let's revise transitive and intransitive verb. A transitive verb takes a direct object. Somebody killed the president. So somebody killed the president. Somebody killed to whom? The president. An intransitive verb does not have a direct object. He died. Many verbs like speak can be transitive or intransitive. Look at these examples. You need to use an object. I saw what? An elephant. We are watching TV. We are watching what? We are watching TV. He speaks what? He speaks English. So all these are followed by the direct objects. So these verbs are saw, watching, and speaks here are transitive. In intransitive, I can use it alone in the verb phrase or with the adverbial phrase, like he has arrived. John goes to school. She speaks fast. So she speaks over here is the intransitive because it is not followed by the direct object. So here are some examples. Speak is used. I would like to speak with you. This is transitive. And let's speak intransitive. Read. We are reading your new book. We are reading. So here are the examples of the transitive and intransitive too, in order to make you more clear. That was all about the transitive and intransitive verbs. Let's start the next topic, that is comprehension and precis writing skills. What is comprehension? Comprehension is to understand the situational mood, agents, objects, temporal and spatial references, points, casual and intentional inflections, conveyed for assertion, questioning, commanding, refraining, etc. Final ability to determine writer's purpose, intent and point of view. and draw inferences about the writer discourse semantics. Comprehension and precis writing skill basically is the ability to process text, understand its meaning, and to integrate with what the reader already knows. Fundamental skills required in efficient reading comprehensions are knowing meaning of the words, ability to understand meaning of a word, to form discourse contents, ability to follow organization of the passage and to identify antecedents and references in it, ability to draw inferences from a passage about its contents. It is an ability to identify the main thought of a passage, an ability to answer questions answered in the passage, then ability to recognize the literary devices or prepositional structures used in a passage and determines its tone. So, next topic is precis. Precis is like a miniature portrait of the passage. It retains the absolute essential points accompanied with the mood and tone of the author of the passage. It is written about 1/3 words of its original passage. Here are some features of a good precis. It is marked by clarity, brevity, and precision. It is not just lifting of the sentences from the original. It should be written in the precis writer's own words. It's a miniature version of the original passage. It must have a logical order and be well knit, well connected. It must have a coherence and linking devices must be there. Therefore, and because, further, etc. Must follow the order of ideas of the original extract. It must have a title and it is written in reported speech. Must not contain any details not found in the original passage. That was all about the precis writing and the comprehension skill. Let's start the write about the written task that is given to you. You have to list out the do's and don'ts in the precis writing. Go through these solved exercises, and for the precis writing, for grammar book, use the internet as a resource. Solve any past passages from the past from the grammar book. Here is also given the passage to you and the questions are given to you. You have to answer them, read the passage and answer the questions given at the end. And then you have to make a precis of this passage again. Here is another passage for you. So you have to make the precis of this passage. First of all, read it again carefully, then find out the meanings, then reread it, and then make a precis. So written task again. There are some exercises from the transitive verbs, and they are given below. The sources are given, then exercises regarding your transitive and intransitive verbs are there. You have to solve all of them. Thank you for today. Have a safe and be happy.